Fire me up, Brady! Ah! Let's go!
This guy's silky. Welcome back, Chicago Hockey Radio. It's Monday, and we've got an exciting show for you guys today. I'm Lee Grossman. With me, as always, is my partner, Justin Lynch, a.k.a. B-Hawks Memes, with us, per usual, as well. Raven Gasser on the ones and twos, Tassos Kirkos. And we've got our goalie pulled. We've got an extra skater today. We've got Andrew Nolan joining the show. He's going to be joining us for the rest of the time here at Chicago Hockey Radio. He's joining the team. We're very excited to have him. And so I'm sure he's going to be being integrated into the show more and more as time goes on here. So we are very excited about that.
Yeah, fire me up, fellas. Let's do
go.
this.
There he is.
There he is. Absolute cinema's going to be going down, boys. Can't wait to do this pod with you guys. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, we're so happy to have you on the production side, right? It will be in the Raven seat occasionally. Raven's not going anywhere, don't worry. There'll effectively be two Ravens from this point forward, so we're all excited for that.
Double the manpower, nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Absolutely. W. Nolan's all in chat. We love to see that. All right, boys. We got a packed show. A lot to talk about. The Olympic teams are starting to name their first 6 players for the Olympic Games next year. We've got obviously Game 5 to talk about. We've got Game 6 to talk about, and then we've got a Mount Rushmore, of course,
That's
as
right.
we always do. Where would you like to begin? I think there's been some Blackhawks news. That
I think I know exactly where we need to start, Lee.
Yeah. You take us away. Where do you want to? Because I know you're really. This is a big trade. This is a big move for you.
Blockbuster. This is an absolutely massive trade that happened on Friday. The Blackhawks have traded the rights to Victor Soderstrom to the Bruins for Ryan Mast at a 7th round pick. Kyle Davidson masterclass. What a trade, baby. So basically we got the ghost of Shea Weber in his cap hit there for nothing. So but I guess you got to get to the cap floor somehow. So nice work. Excellent work, KD. Again, we're losing basically a 7th defenseman here at best, so it's not that deep. Somehow there are like some Hawks fans on Twitter that are actually upset about this. It's not that deep, bro. I don't think this guy was making the squad over the Rinzels and the Ardys and all these young defensemen we have. So, and the right for I saw is get Ryan Mast to add to the blue line. He's a big boy. So, yeah.
I think when you see the tape with Soderstrom, you're like, oh my gosh, there's offensive upside here, you know, because he is really sick, but just maybe lacking that NHL pace.
Yeah. I think people just see that he was a high draft pick and think, oh, there's like some untapped potential there. Maybe there is. The Bruins did sign him too, so he will be potentially a part of that squad moving forward. But I just think I think Kyle Davidson looked at this and he probably was looking at it too, where it's like the Hawks depth chart in D was so much so that he probably would have never made the squad here. So he was kind of an expendable player. And, you know, we got a free 7th rounder into AHL guy. So, you know.
Yeah, I'd imagine he was expecting playing time. That's probably what he wanted. He wanted to make an NHL roster.
He would have been nice, Hawks.
And it just wouldn't have happened. We have, way too many really significantly further ahead young defensive talent than Soderstrom.
He's probably 10th on the depth chart. Yeah.
So this was never going to be a place that he was going to see NHL ice time this year.
Yeah, so it's not that deep. But yeah, nice to see a trade. Definitely the trade we've all been waiting for, right? The summer of KD is underway, folks.
Yeah, and we bring in Ryan Mast, who's a massive right-handed defenseman.
Is he like 6'5" or something?
Yeah, he's like 6'5", 220. So
Man.
another big boy on the back end for the Blackhawks. The average height of the Rockford Ice Hogs defense next year is going to be 6'6", I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is an Ice Hog. He's never going to play a game for the Hawks, I'd imagine, but they're going to have some serious size in that back end next year. Not just him. They signed Tage Harding, who's around the same size. So that's stuff with the KD formula. He's a defenseman with size, and he's all over that. Forward with size, we're not really interested in that. Defenseman with size, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're into.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get a 7th round pick. Very interested to hear who you would like the Blackhawks to take with this 7th round.
Yeah, there are a lot of players I'm looking at in the 7th round this year that I'm really circling, really eyeing with that draft pick. So, Davidson's never going to shy away from acquiring more draft capital, right? Unlimited draft capital. He's like a Palpatine there, unlimited power. So, that's just more assets to add to the arsenal there. I wonder what would do with that 7th round pick. You never know. You throw a dart at a board enough times, you might land something. But unlikely. That's probably a future Indy Fuel legend there, but you never know. Yeah,
it just feels like organizational housekeeping.
Yeah,
this move. So.
Housekeeping.
Obviously, I posted on my Instagram story to plan the parade.
This is the banker right here, right? This is the big move that's going to really get the summer underway. I think this move is a great sign, right? Just shows you that this is the first of many. Kyle Davidson will be cooking this summer.
You are way too bullish, dude. Really, this is the trade. This is the move that you're like, all right, we're going to have ourselves a summer.
That's a bit. I think expect more moves like that from Kyle Davidson. You think he's going to bring in big names? No, no big names on the table here.
Give me Ryan Mast.
This was the move, and he's going to go in hibernation the rest of the summer. He's going to return to his cave, and he'll come out in the draft, and then he will disappear until September. So really just excited to see that.
Okay. And then the Blackhawks announced their official draft watch party on June 27th. Do you have the details of that, or is it just that they officially announced it and we don't know where it's at? Not that actually... Breaking news, I'm just getting word. It's going to be at the Chicago Hockey Radio studio.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah, they're going to try to pack 500 people in here. So
nice. That would be the correct move. No, I think it's at Chicago in Recess Bar. I don't know if I said that right, but that's where it's going to be on June 27th at 5 p.m. So if you want to witness the Hawks draft Anton Frundell with the 3rd pick in the draft, that's where you go. So I'm sure we're all just really amped up for that. I'm sure that the bar and the people that attend are going to be just amped up for that pick. So yeah.
Yeah, I just with this 3rd overall pick, I don't feel like there's
a lot of excitement. We should be excited for this
I'm
draft.
not anxiously anticipating and waiting to see who we're gonna take. I know who they're gonna take at 3rd. I know it's Frundell. This is not gonna be some big reveal where we're keeping our cards close to our chest and it's like, wow, I wonder who he's gonna take here. Because I have seen people say that on social media, oh, it could be anybody. Honestly, it's still too early. I'm just like.
Have you read the Scott Powers and the Ben Pope articles and the Hawks insiders? Because pretty much all the Hawks insiders are saying, it's going to be Frundell unless something happens. So that's the only thing I'm kind of the little shred of hope I'm holding out onto. Maybe there's some surprise move for, Misa. But I'm not banking on it. In fact, you shouldn't be banking on it, I'm sure he's going to try, but I'm sure the Islanders and Sharks will listen and then hang up their phones. So
barring a trade. If there's a trade, obviously, because they won't be picking at 3rd if there's a trade. But if there's no trade, it's Frundell at 3, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, so get ready to learn Anton Frundell, buddy. Yeah. We'll be picking our Anton Lundell, our 3rd-line center with the 3rd pick, right? That's the plan.
We're bullish on him, all right? That's our guy, all right?
He's the next Draisaitl?
Yeah, I mean, we got to accept it now. We got to accept that we're taking Sasha Barkov at 3 here.
Right, he is the next Sasha Barkov. That's what everybody's saying, right?
Yeah.
If he is, that'd be a great pick, but we shall see, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he is, we're going to win Stanley Cup, so.
Oh, yeah. So if they feel confident that's their guy, then sure enough, we'll pay it forward. Yeah.
Or just trade up and get Misa.
Yeah, that's the move I would make. That's what I would do, but I'm not Kyle from Chicago. I'm not the GM. I'm a podcaster, so I only have too much control here. I don't think we're just we're leveraging the keys there, and they're not our little puppets there that we can get them to do what we want. Right? We could be delusional, but It's out of our hands, Lee. It's out of our hands. It's out of our control.
I just want them to let the memers and the podcasters run the organization.
I think we'd already be back in the playoffs if we were the ones running the ship here. I think the cup will become Chicago next year, but it is what it is, right?
Delusion. Speaking of cups in Chicago, on this day, 10 years ago, the Chicago Blackhawks won Lord Stanley on home ice against the Tampa Bay Lightning. What do you remember from that game, from that series?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to wish a late Happy Father's Day. I think the Hawks wishing the Lightning are wishing a Happy Father's Day to the Chicago Blackhawks there. So that was a nice little moment yesterday, that little TBT. Should see more stuff with that, the Hawks history and all that. Jonathan Tays also put out a post on his Instagram yesterday.
Yeah, it got me in my feels.
So that was pretty cool. Definitely, hit us right in the nostalgia. So it's been a lot of that lately, especially if you've been following us on the socials. We've been nostalgia merchants over there, and we will continue to be. And Jonathan Tays is clearly he's been seeing that, and he's getting everybody amped up for that too. So, but yeah, no, that was a hell of a series. It's just hard to believe that was a decade ago, man. Like I was 12 years old. That's just crazy. I mean, time really flies there, and that was a hell of a run. I mean, that was a great final between the Hawks and Lightning, and I'll just always remember that Sod back to Richards across the Kane, he scores. That was an iconic moment that really just sealed the Hawks dynasty. 3 cups in 6 years. That was the Hawks' first cup at home, I believe, since 1938. Because obviously their first 2 cups of the dynasty were on the road, so it was nice to bring the cup back to the United Center in front of the home crowd. Tays lifting the cup was an iconic moment. So, no, that was a hell of a run. I mean, I enjoyed them all, but that 2015 team was just perfectly built for the playoffs. Like, I think this Florida Panthers team reminds me a lot of that 2015 Hawks team. There's definitely a lot of similarities there, I would say. Those Hawks teams walked, so this Cats team can run here. So, but no, hell of a run. Definitely miss it.
Yeah, I can't help but think back at those series, at those runs, at those games. Honestly, when I'm watching this Florida Panthers team, just because I'm I just see so many parallels and similarities that. Yeah, man, it just gets me. I miss it, dude. I need it so bad. I need a good Blackhawks team more than I need air to survive. So, we're just counting down the days until this team is competitive and back in the playoffs, because there really is nothing like hockey at this time of the year.
I miss watching my team this time of year, like having that nervousness when watching a playoff game. So I'm watching these playoff games and they're fun. Don't get me wrong, but when you're not a fan of any particular team, it's just not really the same. You don't have that same type of connection to the game and to the teams and all that. So that's a feeling that I miss very much. And I don't think it's that far away. I mean, we're not there yet, and got to be more patient here. But I don't think Hawks playoff hockey is as far away as everybody's making it out to be. So that's one thing I will say. Yeah, on the positive front.
Yeah, we'll say 2 years.
2 years. Yeah, 26, 27, right? Yeah, that would be nice.
All right,
maybe even their 100th year. You never know. Yeah.
I'd take that.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I think there needs to be a few moves that happen.
Yeah,
before,
a little bit. A little more than a Victor Soderstrom for Ryan Mast. I think there's got to be a few more moves made before we could say this team is playoff bound. Yeah.
Okay. The teams competing in the Olympics have announced their 6 players, their initial 6 players.
The original 6?
Yeah, the original 6 players.
Oh.
Do you want to go through some of these original 6 and we'll give our thoughts and comments?
Yeah, let's start the first one, the best one. Team Germany here. Nico Sturm, Leon Draisaitl, Tim Stützle, Phil Grubauer, Moritz Seider, and Lucas Reichel, baby. Lucas Reichel will be playing in the Olympics next year. Our Lucas Reichel, our boy. So you love to see that. And I will say, Reichel's always good at international hockey, man. He loves that big ice, so I'm sure he's going to deliver and show up. But I'm pretty interesting that he was picked to that squad first over JJ Peterka.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show. I do think that they were just with the contract stuff going on with Peterka, which I guess we could talk a little bit more about since Elliot Friedman yesterday, I want to say. Or was it the show today? Either way, Elliot Friedman just reporting how the Buffalo Sabres are getting more and more open to the potential trade, of dealing JJ Peterka as opposed to trying to re-sign him. So I think that was why they named Reichel instead of Peterka, just because there's all this stuff going on with him right now for his club. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no, it's probably just because of the contract negotiations. Maybe that's a future Blackhawk there, JJ Peterka. We can get an old German line, right? Peterka, Reichel, and they figure the third guy out. I'm not sure who the third German would be of that line, but that'd be nice to see that connection. Those two are good buddies that played together in a lot of those German rinks growing up. So that'd be a fun little connection there. Maybe revive Lucas Reichel's game. So yeah, but no, good for him. Should be a nice confidence booster, I think, especially for him in the middle of the offseason, just to see like your name, like you know you're gonna be in the Olympics next year. That should give him a little extra motivation, you think. I know he's working for a skills coach this summer. Like it's a big year for Lucas Reichel. Like that's the last year of his contract if he wants to establish himself as a part of this Hawks core. Lucas Reichel needs to have a big year next year. Coaching change. I mean, there's really no excuses next year for me. I think it's now or never for Lucas Reichel. I think it's a big year for him next year. If the breakout's going to happen, it's now or never. So, but no, good news for him. Happy for him, and hopefully that could be the little jump, the little motivation he needs, right? Yeah.
I feel like if there was a trade that were to happen between the Blackhawks and the Sabres for JJ Peterka, I feel like Lucas Reichel would be involved somehow.
Yeah.
He's never been given like a true runway here. Like they obviously don't feel highly about him. All these Blackhawks fans complaining on Twitter all year long about having Reichel stapled on the fourth line. It's like, he's there for a reason. Like it's not like they love this kid and they're just like begging for it,
Yeah. The trade is 1-for-1. Lucas Reichel for JJ Peterka.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, good for him. Hope and also like next year going into the Olympics, like there's going to be a lot of players on this Blackhawks team that are better than Lucas Reichel not going to the Olympics. And
there's a very real possibility that Lucas Reichel will be playing in the Olympics and not Connor Bedard, which is kind of hilarious, actually. But yeah, again, it's Germany versus Canada, so that may be a small factor there, a tiny factor. I'll never say never. He could still be playing, probably not. But yeah, I guess that's Germany talk for you. Good for Lucas. I wonder if he'll still be a Blackhawk by that point. We don't. Yeah, like you said, I have seen his name on a lot of trade boards. So like the Frank Servali, David Faceoff trade boards and stuff. But he has been for a while, and so far nothing. So yeah, hopefully the Hawks, one last shot here. But I would agree with you. I feel like at this point, there's just no confidence that he's going to be a part of this thing, right? Because they haven't shown him that. But maybe this last little coaching staff overhaul can give him that type of runway. But we haven't seen it yet, right? Yeah.
Okay. Any other of these teams catching your eye?
I think Latvia is the big one, right? Teddy Bluger, Zemgus Girgensons, Shelobs, Merzlinkins, Abols, and Belinsky. I'm just surprised that Latvia even has 6 NHL players to send the Olympics. So props to Latvia there. We'll see if they have an upset in them. You have to watch out for Latvia on the world stage, man. Sometimes they do pull off those big time upsets. We saw in the World Juniors this past year in Canada. So they're a sneaky little bunch there, that Latvian squad. So yeah, that's Team Latvia for you.
It is exciting though that like a lot of these smaller nations are starting to be able to play NHL guys, and it's good for, because we talked about it. We were talking about it so much during the Four Nations tournament. Like international hockey is so big for the growth of the game, and the more competitive teams you have, the better the sport is. Right. And when the sport's better, you're gonna have more people playing it, and when more people are playing it, the more people are watching it, and when more people are watching it, there's more money in it, and when there's more money in it, the product gets better. So it's like, it's good stuff.
Quite the trickle-down effect there. You really went through everything there. That was impressive.
Yeah.
It's just good to see these guys be able to develop NHL players. It gives it a true World Cup feel, right?
Yeah.
You want to see these smaller hockey nations be able to compete, and they've been able to do it. So it's not just Latvia, right? We got France here. They announced their top 6, and it's their top 1, Texier. That's their only French NHL player at the moment. So there you go. Good luck for Team France there. Yeah.
Still a dark horse. Okay, then another one. I don't know. You want to do Denmark?
Yeah, Team Denmark. This is a nasty squad here. We got Lars Eller, Ronberg, Fred Anderson, Nikolai Ehlers, maybe a potential future Blackhawk there, and Alvar Bjorkstrand, one of my favorite names in hockey, Bjorkstrand.
Yep. Coming off that upset of Team Canada.
That's right. It's the World Championships. Yep. Yeah, that's another sneaky squad there. You got to watch out for those Danes. They're a sneaky bunch, pesky bunch. And also, yeah, they were very close to 5 guys, so not quite 6. But I'm impressed that Denmark even has 5 NHLers. So there you go. Props to Team Denmark. Slovakia's got Simone Nemitz, Juraj Slavkovsky, Eric Cernak, Martin Ferivari, Martin Popspisil, and I like to call him Martin Popsicle. Tatar. That's the guy who was like, he had a couple big hits on
our
Nazar
boys.
Betsy when he was with the Flames this year. So, he'll keep us up. And but yeah, Slovakia's been coming a long way the past few years in hockey, right? Obviously, they had Slavkovsky, first overall pick in 2022, and they've had quite a few high draft picks in recent memory. So they've been coming a long way. Back in their prime days, like with Marian Hossa and Chara, like they used to be pretty loaded. Went through a bit of a dry spell, and now they seem to be back on the rise. So that's good. And then, Germany's another country back on the rise. We talked about them. Then we got the Swiss, Nino Niederreiter, Nico Hischier, Kevin Fiala, Timu Meyer, Roman Yossi, and Jonas Siegenthaler. So that's a Swiss view. Another country you kind of got to watch out for. Like they're kind of that in between. Like they're not like a top squad, but they're not a bottom squad. They're just kind of like in that middle, like 6 to 7 range. It feels like every
maybe
year.
Not quite Finland, but they're not France. Or Lat,
they could maybe like surprise for like a bronze or something. Like you never know. They're up there. I'd say Swiss is probably like that next, like after like that big 5, then it's Switzerland. I guess now it's a big 4, not a big 5. But I guess I'd probably put the Czechs ahead of them too. Actually, so they're probably like what 6 or 7 or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, then we got the Czechs. We got Radko Gudas, David Pastrnak, Martin Necas, Palat, Dostal, and Zaka. They won the not this year. They won the Worlds the last year. They can ice pretty much close to a full NHL squad. Not quite for the 4 nations, but 90% of that team is NHLers, so they should be one to watch for sure. We got Sweden. We got Hedman, Kempe, Dahlin, Raymond, Landeskog, and Nylander. Good to see Landeskog on there, right? He's got obviously healed up and recovered just in time for the Olympics, so he should be one to watch there. Good for them. And we got Finland, Rantanen, Aho, Barkov, UC Saros, Heiskanen, and Lindell. Little surprise Turbo wasn't on that original 6 reveal there. I probably would have put him there ahead of Lindell, but that's just me.
Also, that Saros is the first goalie who gets named is interesting just after his 4 Nations performance and his performance this entire season with Nashville.
Yeah, I just don't know if the Finns, like what goalie would you have ahead of him, though, in the depth chart? Yeah, at this current point. I'd probably still take him ahead of Kevin Lankinen.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's Turbo. I'm sure will be on that squad though. I guess that's pretty much it for the ones. Oh wait, no, sorry, Canada. That's sort of a big one. Canada. We got Sam Reinhart, McDavid, McKinnon, McCarr, Crosby, and Point. I'd like to know where I don't see Connor Bedard's name there. I wonder what's up there. I'm just kidding. Don't take that seriously. But maybe he can still make the squad. I think he needs to get off to a good start next year if he wants any shot. He might have to wait till 2030. I'm not going to lie. Hopefully not. But that's Canada's original 6. We're still waiting on the U.S.
Yeah, let's do predictions.
Yeah, I'd say, Matthews is going to be on it. Matthew Tkachuk for sure. I'd say Zach Orensky, Quinn Hughes, that's 4, right? One of the goalies, Hellebuck will probably be the original 6 still. That leaves one spot there. Who would take that last spot there? Hitting a bit of a block here. Who do you think? Yeah, who would you put in there? That's 6. That's the number 6 guy.
Well, I'd go Matthews, Eichel,
yeah, that's a good one. Do Eichel, yeah.
Tkachuk brothers.
Both of the Tkachuk brothers in the top 6.
Tkachuk brothers.
Yeah.
Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
Werenski.
Okay, that's solid.
No goalie for
the top 6. I respect that.
Well, look, just with the battle of Hellebuck and Ottinger, I think you can go without picking one of them right now.
Actually, I switch. I think Frick Nazar should be in that top 6 there.
Gosh.
There you go. I'm just saying though, obviously not that, but I don't think there's a non-zero chance Nazar is on the 2026 Olympic team for the USA. I mean, after what he just did in the Worlds, you tell me they're not at least considering him. It's like, I don't know, a 13th, 14th forward or something.
He's going to have an amazing first half of his season.
It's not out of question.
He's going to have to be like point per game, I think.
Probably not. Like if Betsy's not going to be in Canada, Nazar's probably not going to be in the US, but you never know. I'm just saying, you never know. It's possible. Probably not. But you never know. I wonder, Vlasic's an interesting one. I wonder if he could be maybe their 7th or 8th D or something. Again, probably not, but I wouldn't say he's totally off the table there.
I feel like he'd be more likely than Nazar.
Yeah, probably a little more established.
And just the role, he
has a clear role in that D core, right? He's like a 3rd pair, 7th D guy. I'm trying to think of what other Hawks could be on the Olympics besides those guys. Soderblom maybe could be like a third goalie for Sweden. I don't know. Let's see. Let's look here because Bedseat's probably not. Turbo, like we said, for Finland. I'm sure he'll be there. I'd imagine.
I don't know if
Kurashev for the Swiss. I don't know. This is exactly a loaded Olympic squad here for the Hawks. I'm not really sure how much representation they're going to have, but hopefully in the future when these core guys are established, they'll have plenty of representation. Remember 2014 when the Hawks had half the team was there? That was pretty cool. So
we'll get back to that.
Yeah, and I think the U.S. they're going to officially announce their top 6 at like 12. So we'll keep an eye out for that, and we'll let you know as it drops what the U.S. squad's going to look like. Otherwise, I think that's it then, right? I'm pretty sure that's all the top 6 there for these nations. Got that all covered. So I think, if you want to move on to Game 5 here, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
Just do it.
We streamed that one here. It was... it was just domination.
Bonkers.
From the Florida Panthers from the start of the game to the finish. Obviously, 5-2 Cats. We're going back to Florida with the Panthers leading the series 3-2. And I think just a lot of these narratives that you and I have been talking about throughout this series just really came to fruition here in Game 5. Just the Panthers' depth, it's just so much more talented of a team. They've got so many more weapons, so many more guys that can hurt you. Their defense is significantly better. Bob's been the Oilers' goaltending situation. I know both of them, between Pickard and Skinner, they've both had their unbelievable moments throughout this postseason. But let's be honest, it's not Bob. It's not enough. Mm-hmm. The goaltending is an issue for Edmonton, and dude, I just thought the Panthers absolutely took it to them, and you wouldn't have expected it. I know I predicted a Panthers win in that game. I would have thought I'd see more life from the Edmonton Oilers after stealing that Game 4, coming back in such an impressive fashion. Then you get back in your own building. That place is rocking the entire time. I mean, that is seriously one of the best atmospheres we've seen in a while. And they just didn't have jump, and they got absolutely burned early again. Outside of the first game, they've just gotten scored on like crazy in the first period, and you're not going to beat this Panthers team in a 7-game series if you're constantly chasing them.
It's a fair point, yeah. And I was surprised too. Like, I picked Oilers for that game. I thought just getting back at home ice after that big win in Game 4, I thought that was theirs to lose. And I guess we shouldn't be shocked. I mean, we saw it in Game 3. When the Panthers are on, they can kill you, and that's exactly what happened. Maybe not. I wouldn't say they blew the Oilers out this game. It was a closer game than I'd say the score maybe suggested. But no, the Panthers are definitely the better team. And now it's like they put themselves in a really good position here. And it's just let's just look at guys like Brad Marchand, man. Like that goal he scored 2 goals, but like that second goal he had, just an absolute highlight reel.
Both of them were nasty.
Both of them were
disgusting. Second one was unbelievable.
I mean, I'd say everybody's been talking about, don't get me wrong, Sam Bennett's been fantastic. I think he had one as well. 15 goals, leads the team, leads the playoffs, I believe. He's been nasty, don't get me wrong, but I think Brad Marchand would be my Conn Smythe pick today.
Really?
Yeah, because like if you look at how about this? If there is an NBA, the NBA has like a Finals MVP trophy.
Yeah, but this isn't that though.
I know, but I'm saying if there was, like, I think Marchand would definitely be the guy. But he's only 2 points behind Bennett, right? Bennett has 22, Marchand has 20. Bennett does have a bit of a goals edge, but he scored in every game of the Finals. Like, I think he's been the heartbeat of that team, Brad Marchand, right? Honestly, he'd be my pick. Like 37 years old, what he's doing, like I think he's been unreal, super clutch, and maybe not quite the production of say a Bennett, but he's been right there with him. Like I think he'd be my Conn Smythe pick, honestly.
I think that Marchand has undeniably been the most impactful player in the Finals. But if you look back at the whole run, I think there's no question in my mind it's Sam Bennett. I mean, he was killing everybody. He was scoring goals in every single series. So for me, it's that guy. But I understand why people are talking about Brad Marchand. But yeah, if I had a vote, it would certainly be going to Sam Bennett.
Which name you think is going to get more attention there? Like I would also agree with you. Yeah, over the whole course of the playoffs, Bennett's probably been more impactful. But you don't think the name factor maybe is impacting these voters? It oftentimes does when it comes to the Conn Smythe, right? And Marchand's a guy, obviously he's never won a Conn Smythe in his career. We're coming definitely the back nine of his career here on a tear. I think for his legacy, I think think winning a Conn Smythe here with the Panthers would, his second cup late in his career after winning one his rookie year with the Bruins. I think the story would be pretty great there.
Yeah, the story would be great, but Sam Bennett's been better than him throughout the entirety of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe
He's got like 15 goals, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I don't think it's that far apart, though. I think they're right there with each other. Yeah, I think it's pretty close. I think, but yeah, I'd say over the course of the playoffs, probably Bennett, but I'd say more recency, closer to the cup. I do think that probably impacts the votes too. Like who was kind of better in the later portions of the playoffs. I think it's probably been Brad Marchand, but it's been close.
But Bennett's still been scoring. It's just like Marchand has had a couple games where he obviously completely stole the show and stole the game. But Sam Bennett's still been on the score sheet every single night. So, I understand the rationale for saying the rat
to know,
and maybe that's a bit better of a storyline. But I just watching every single Florida Panthers game, for me it's Sam Bennett. But they've both been absolutely pivotal, and then they've been destroying the Oilers. And that's kind of the problem with the Edmonton Oilers is like if you look at the top 15 players from this series, you say Edmonton's got the top 2.
And then do they have another one?
And then it's like the next like 9 or 10 are all on the
Panthers.
Florida Panthers.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, just look at this Panthers squad, man. How about this? The top 8 here is separated by 5 points from Bennett to Lundell. 22-17. Rodriguez is right there too. Like that's unbelievable depth. And you look at the Oilers, and as again that McDry tax. There's a 10-point gap between McDry and the rest. And there's 4 guys at 20. There's Bush and Nugent Hopkins have 22. And a lot of their points that come from McDry. And then you have a couple guys in the 10 range, but that's about it. They just don't have the depth of this Panthers squad. And that's the difference in this final so far. If those two aren't putting up multi-point plus games, they're not going to come away with the game. It's just that simple. The Panthers' depth is unmatched.
Yeah. I agree. Obviously, Zach Hyman being out is, we have to say it. I know it's like not the craziest take and somewhat lazy, but on a team that if you're looking at these two rosters and you're doing depth talk, it's like, yeah, one of those better, maybe the best guy outside of Connor Leon and Bouchard on the Oilers missing is. It's tough, and what he provides with his physicality, they've certainly been missing it. But look, I think even if they had him,
they wouldn't be that much of a difference.
You look at the numbers of this series, like the stats that have been going around is like the Panthers have been leading for like over 100 minutes, and the Oilers have only been leading.
That
the
doesn't
series
go
for
away
like
with one
30
player.
Minutes. Yeah, it just doesn't.
Maybe the games would be a little closer, but not that much. Maybe Hyman gets you a couple more goals. But I think when you already have a depth disadvantage, like you can't afford to really lose anybody. Like I think injuries are definitely going to impact a team like the Oilers more than the Panthers. The Panthers would be out like pretty much anybody in the top 9 that they can make do without it, right? They have more guys to kind of fill in the pieces there and fill in that time and those roles, whereas the Oilers don't really have that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the Oilers need to shake things up again. I know Knobloch did that over the past couple games, but it hasn't worked. I think you go back to Stuart Skinner. I think Kapanen has to be in the lineup. I don't know.
I don't know why he was scratched. He's been fine.
I don't understand it either.
Yeah,
I think he provides more value in this playoff setting than a Jeff Skinner does, but that's just me personally.
Yeah, he doesn't have the name, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and then I mean, like we went into this playoff series, we went into this cup final like talking about Evander Kane and how important he is, and he's been just not good enough, and he got demoted to the 4th line, and he's been I was gonna say he's been invisible, but he's like hurt them in a couple games. And so I think if they have any hopes of turning this around, I think Evander Kane needs to step up big. And I think you need to bring Skinner back in. But I guess that's maybe some more Game 6 talk that we can wait for.
Well, I think that's the problem right there. It's like you're at Game 6 of a Stanley Cup final, and you're figuring out who to start in net. Yeah. Like that's a problem.
It's like, a problem.
Maybe it hasn't been much of a problem up to this point. I mean, it kind of has. You've already seen this like twice where they had to go from one goalie to the next. But yeah, I think we're finally starting to see it. Stan Bowman thinking you didn't need a goalie at the deadline. It took a long time. I think we're finally starting to see the ramifications of that, where they don't have a clear starter in net. They don't have somebody they have true confidence in. That's an issue. this time of year. When you're figuring out your starters for every game, that's a problem.
Yeah, just because you're winning games doesn't change the fact that you've got a liability in your net.
Exactly. Yeah, and it can combust at any moment in time, right? You need to have a guy back there where it's like if you're off your game, you feel confident that he can maybe steal you one. Pickard or Skinner are not going to steal you a game. It's like you have to be on point every night, or you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, and I really do think it's absolutely miraculous that the Edmonton
They made it
Oilers
this far.
got this far, and that
It's unreal.
We're going into a Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final with this roster. Like,
I think it still very well win.
and I know a lot of times when people talk about teams in this sport, like they do that we just mentioned. Like if a team goes on a run and they start rolling, people like act like the problems in the roster aren't there, but it's like, no, at the end of the day, this is still your roster.
Yeah.
And when the going gets tough and you run into a team like the Florida Panthers that can just suffocate you defensively, you need depth. You need more talent. You need good goaltending. You need to be able to engage in these, really tough defensive grind you out games. And this Oilers roster for me just can't. And I guess that's why I was like hesitant to pick them all throughout the playoffs, because I would just look at this lineup and I'd be like, how?
And the Panthers are the only team that's been able to expose them for it so far, right? Just because you make it to the final doesn't mean you're liable from criticism, right? You got to win it all, or else, I think you could point to your roster and look at issues, and we're seeing a lot of the same problems as last year, if anything worse. So. We'll see. Still ways to go here. They could still come out on top and find a way. But right now, it's hard to bet against the Panthers right now. It's hard to see them losing consecutive games here.
It is, but that's the craziest thing about the sport in the Stanley Cup Finals is Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl could completely take over Game 6, and then we'll be talking about a game set between these two teams, which, in my mind, they don't really have any business being in the same conversation. I'm serious. I'm sorry. This Florida Panthers team is so damn good. And we'll start going through Game 5 and talking about some of these guys. But these two teams damn near don't even belong on the same ice sheet.
Same conversation. Exactly.
This Florida Panthers team is such a wagon, but that's the beauty of the sport and just how dynamite those two or three guys are for Edmonton. That, look, if they steal a win in Game 6, a lot of people are going to be favoring them in Game 7 at home, coming off of a win.
Oh yeah,
and
they've done it before. They did it in Game 4, right? They could do it again and find a way at home. And then last year Game 7 was in Florida. This year a potential Game 7 would be in Edmonton. I think that would be a factor, having that home crowd. I know they lost the last game, but you think they wouldn't make up for it? I think they'd be a good chance. So, I think just take this one game at a time. Worry about Game 6. But I think a few more Game 5 notes we can get into here before we really preview Game 6. Just a couple more notes. I've been glazing Brad Marchand today. I'm going to keep glazing him. But he scored 6 goals in this Cup final, which is the most by any player since 1988. I believe that was probably by a certain Oilers player that year in 88. I would have had to guess that was probably Gretzky. Don't quote me on that. But just seeing that year there, it's probably a good bet because that was a dominant Oilers team in 88. But that's a pretty crazy stat right there. That was like almost 40 years ago. We haven't seen this type of production in the Cup final. So that man has been clutch. And not to bring this back to the Blackhawks here, but I know there's been a lot of Sam Bennett talk with the Hawks, but I don't know. 37-year-old Brad Marchand, contract will be up there, and maybe a short-term little. I wouldn't hate a Brad Marchand Blackhawks. Maybe throwing some money at him this offseason. 2-year deal. Teach the young players, teach the Nazars and the Bedsies and all these kind of sub 6-foot players how to play aggressive. In these types of playoff environments, right? And show them how to do it. I think that'd be a nice little a low risk, high yield investment. What do you think about that?
Dude, I don't know. Is this going to be a place Brad Marchand wants to come? I have no clue what that guy's going to be looking for. Obviously, he's probably going to be looking for money after this.
Because if he wins the Cup, I don't know if it necessarily has to be a team. He's won 2 in his. If he wins this, that'll be 2 Cups in his career. I don't think he necessarily would have to be on a team that's in a win now situation. It's money. It's money.
But maybe that's true, and he wins the Cup this year. But that doesn't mean he's going to be like, all right, I'll go from this winning hockey in South Florida to this Chicago Blackhawks.
It's maybe a bit of a Delulu take, but I think it's worth putting out there. I think it's an interesting idea because, like, I've seen Sam Bennett thrown out there a lot, but I have some concerns with, binding yourself to like an 8-year contract, paying this guy $10 million. Like, what's that production going to look like? And especially because he's going to have to be probably your number 2 on this Hawks team. I think Sam Bennett's better off being like a number 4, number 5. Is that type of production going to take place? Especially his career high. Everybody's talking about his production in the playoffs, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but career high at 51 points in regular season. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think I think he's a guy where if you're already established as a playoff team, like that's a guy you should be looking at. But if you're not there yet, if you're in the middle of a rebuild, like, is that really the guy that's going to get you over the hump there and move the needle forward? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I've been, kind of anti-free agency this, the past month or two is because, like, yeah, if you are relying on one of these guys that you're going to overpay and then expect them to come in and be like a real needle mover and a top maybe 3 option on your offense, I'm hesitant with it. So
the reason I bring it up is there's been a lot of Hawks fans have been against the idea of overpaying for a Mitch Marner, but have been all over overpaying for Sam Bennett. I think which that I don't really understand. I think it's like
you don't.
Yeah, I don't really understand that because
I mean the explanation is obvious.
I know
you're watching what the two do in the postseason, and
yeah, but you gotta get to them. I know Sam Bennett has more playoff goals this year than Mitch Marner has his own
entire career.
I've seen that stat going around, but also Mitch Marner's worst regular season was 61 points, which is better than Sam Bennett's best regular season. Yeah. So I think if you can merge the players, it'd be perfect, but you can't, unfortunately, right? It'd be nice if there was a middle ground somewhere of like maybe somebody who was maybe not quite as dominant in the regular season, but show up in the playoffs, right?
I also think if you're talking about Sam Bennett versus Mitch Marner for the Chicago Blackhawks team, like Sam Bennett is also that physical edge that this team completely and utterly lacks.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but like, is he a guy that's like the perfect?
I'm not saying that's warranted. You give him $10 million. I'm just. Yeah, that's the argument.
But is that the guy you want being the number 2 with Bedsy up there?
I don't want any of these guys. So personally, no. But
okay, I just thought it was an idea worth. Anyway, just to get some Hawks talk, and we can get back to the game. But I've just seen a lot of our remarks on Hawks Twitter about these certain subjects, so I thought it was worth talking about a little bit.
I understand it. Everyone's bored. You see these exciting players, and you think, oh, there's a chance that this exciting player that I'm watching right now in June could be on my team.
But do any of these guys really want to sign in Chicago right now? I don't know. No. And I don't know if Kyle Davidson, the Hawks are really, everything we're seeing from the insider suggests that might be kind of after the draft, it might be kind of a boring offseason, to be honest with you. Even though they have all this money, I don't know if we're going to be using it this year. Maybe next year, who knows? But anyway, back to this game.
Yeah, so I mean, let's just go through it. Yeah. Look, I just thought that the Panthers dominated in like all the important facets of the game, like all the little things, just like especially early on. I don't understand how the Edmonton Oilers can do this, 4 games in a row where they just look so flat. They just get dominated in the first period, and it's just like, it's like little, like that first Marchand goal, like he just gets shot out of a cannon off the face-off, and it's like, that's a goal that you give up that you can just look at basically every single guy on the ice and think, this has got to be better here from the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, Ekholm gets absolutely burned.
He was terrible in that game,
That was an atrocious game from him.
He was responsible for at least 2 of those goals.
Yeah, the first two. The first two he was largely responsible for. And then also just like even a couple times in the offensive zone, like pucks are bouncing over his stick. He's shooting low quality shots and not getting any results from it. It was a bad game from him, but you also look at, I think it was, I want to say it was Podkolzin on matched up against Marchand there on the draw, and Marchand just walks past him. Mm-hmm. He just flies past him, and it's like you cannot be just on your heels at a face-off in the Stanley Cup final. Like,
well, it was very reminiscent of Game 4, where it's like it's a slow starts again. Like, besides Game 1 at home, like, I don't know if they've started a game on time in this series. It's been a problem all series long. I know they did go on to win that Game 4 and come back down 3-0, and then but
nonetheless,
it doesn't hide the fact that they didn't start the game on time yet again and went down 2-0, 3-0, same again 2 nights in a row. And this time they weren't able to pull out the comeback. You know why? Because you think the Panthers going to make that same mistake twice? No, they knew this time not to play with their food and to put the hammer down. They did so. So yeah, I just think after that big win on the road, it's like you have an opportunity to take the series lead and really give yourself the mantle here at home. And it was a missed opportunity from the Oilers. It was a poorly played game. Not I'd say not as bad as that game 3 where they absolutely shafted 6-1, but it wasn't that much better than that, to be honest with you.
I want to go back to that. That was a good point you make about like, if you do this 4 times in a row, congratulations. You got the comeback win 1 time.
Yeah.
If you do that 4 times to this Florida Panthers team, you're going to lose more than you win.
Yeah.
So you just can't afford to do that. And I don't know what changes are necessary. I don't know if it's a personnel thing. I don't know if it's a coaching thing. Maybe it's just the Florida Panthers inflicting their will on this team. But if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you can't start Game 6 chasing
That
again.
could be a thing too, where it's like defenders of the Oilers here might be maybe these are these issues everybody's talking about. Maybe it's just the Florida Panthers are just that good. You know what I mean? Like sometimes there's a team that's that good, where it's like you're going to get critiqued heavily when able to beat that squad. It's just a hard team to beat 4 times, man. Right? They're just perfectly constructed, whereas they don't really have flaws. The Oilers do, right? And any flaws they have, any discrepancies, are supposed to be made up for through your 2 studs. But it's hard to that's a hard balance to strike there, right?
Yeah. And then the second goal, Ekholm fails to get it into the Panthers zone, turns the puck over. It was Sam Bennett, I think, who actually intercepted the attempted dump in from Ekholm. And then gets the puck on the other side of the ice to Tkachuk, who takes it in, takes a shot that gets blocked, and then just a free bounce right there for Sam Bennett in the slot, who obviously, I mean, this guy's been on a fucking tear. He's not missing from that spot. Yeah. He doesn't. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's 2-0, and you're like, uh-oh.
And that was just another completely avoidable goal there. It's just like simple stuff, man. It's like just don't turn the puck over, don't get burned, and better positioning. And like that, both those first 2 goals were just very avoidable from the Oilers. Yeah. You know, basic habit type stuff. So got to clean up and be better, be ready to go. You know, Game 6, man.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what this Oilers team,
what the fix is.
What they need to do, because it just feels like I watched Hockey Psychology Game 5 breakdown, and he was going through all these plays of the Oilers being too afraid to break through the middle of the ice, and they're just like continuing
the Cats
trying
are dog, man. It's hard to get through them in that neutral zone.
But it's like the Cats are also so good along the boards that it's like
they win all those
pick your
battles.
poison. Like I understand, not going through the middle of the ice is maybe safer, but the Cats are beating you up on this. Like they're forcing turnovers, and once they get the puck back, they go north so quickly. Like it's a drop of a dime, and they've got 3 or 4 guys attacking at you on a counter, and so. Dude, it's like it feels like there's major adjustments that the Edmonton Oilers need to make, and they're gonna have your back's against the wall. You're down 3-2. You're gonna have to attack those areas of the ice. You're gonna have to take risks.
You can't play scared against this Panthers team. I know they're physical. I know they're wearing you, but you can't play scared against this team. You're gonna make mistakes. You're not gonna be able to play your game. So, I think the adjustments the Oilers have to make, and this is really how dire it is, because I don't think they're really gonna win this series through. Like, I know it sounds silly to say, but I don't know if it's really gonna be the fundamental adjustments and stuff that get it done. I think what they got to do is pull out their McDavid, Draisaitl murals and perform some rituals. I think that's the way the Oilers are going to win this cup here, is really just pray that those 2 take over the game and take over the series. I know that sounds like basic to say, but I don't really know if there's anything the Oilers can do fundamentally, to beat this Panthers team. I think they're just better. I think it's a skill issue type thing. I think you just better hope your stars show out, and that's the kind of way forward. I know it's
how it feels.
It really does. It feels a little bit like, even as someone who picked the Oilers in 7, like this feels like a dire situation here. It's hard to bet against that Panthers team. It's just hard to beat them 4 times, man. It's hard to beat them 4 times. It's hard to imagine losing consecutive games. Like, even if they do win that Game 6, I know they're away. Well, guess what? They've won 10 road games. That's the most of anybody ever in the playoffs. 10 wins in the road. So you got to do it twice. You guys got to take it a game at a time, right? But it's very possible. Like, I wouldn't rule it out. But look, face it. We're in the brink of history here, Lee. We're 1 win away from potentially seeing Seth Jones lift the Stanley Cup, which will be a historical moment in the game of hockey. So we'll see if that happens. Yeah,
sure, you're excited for that.
I'm really excited to see that image. I think that'll be they'll be playing that in the history books and the records for years to come. Yeah.
Okay, and so those first 2 goals were in the first, and then the second period was. It was back and forth. There were no goals in it. So in this series where everything has gone over, an entire period without a goal is I guess viewed as sleepy.
Thought that under was going to hit there if that no goal period.
Yeah, so the second finishes and it's 2-0 going to the third, and I'm like, For those of you that are watching right now or listening that don't know, I put $100 on under 6.5 total goals in Game 5 there. So, yeah, we're heading into the third period with 2 goals for the Florida Panthers, and that was it. The live line was over under 4.5. I wasn't gloating, but I was
You felt pretty good about it.
I was very happy going into the third, and people in chat were kind of joking about like an insane third period. And then, of course, there was an insane third period, and there were 5 goals in the third, and I get absolutely screwed. The first one was the third goal was the Marchand goal, right?
That's correct. That was that highlight reel. Once you saw that go in, you probably got a little nervous there, right?
Yeah. Wow. So, and that goal was so nasty.
Beautiful.
Like, Lister, so he pressures the guy at the blue line to make a bad pass. Lusterainen sticks out his stick to break out the pass. And right when that puck gets moved D to D, Marchand starts taking off because he's like, oh, Lusterainen's going to get something on this. And of course he does. Puts it to him right on a platter. And then he's just got a one-on-one with Jake Wallman.
Him.
And he
Puts
takes
him
his
in a blender.
pants down and spanks him.
I
What
think
a move.
Wallman should retire after that, honestly. Like, I don't know how he can live up to that afterward. He lost some more points at that one.
Marchand is so, like, he's not the fastest guy in the world, and he's one of the smallest guys in the world, but he's so good. And this is like what we were talking about before the show. Maybe guys like Frank Nazar or Connor Bedard learning from him. He's so good with his body positioning. It's like, it's a total like soccer.
He knows
thing.
how to create time and space.
Is right when he gets in from right when he beats the defender, even if it's half a foot, he's putting his stick down or he's getting his skate like in front of the defenseman so that they have to go through him in order to get the puck back. And yeah, so
that's exactly what I'm saying, man. That's why I do whatever you can to bring this guy in. I mean, it's short term, like it's not gonna be bound to him. Short term contract, like pay him what he wants. Like I think it'd be great for guys like that to learn from for the Hawks. Honestly, show you how it's done, how you use your size to your advantage there. He's just so shifty, man. He's just the way he moves. He's just so graceful out there, man. He's able to create this time and space and deliver. I love that little quote he had too after the game. Like I think a reporter asked him, like, what would he say to about his future self or something? He said something like, "Man, that guy's a good-looking guy," or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. He's been having all sorts of just clippable lines all playoffs. He's just that Florida atmosphere, man. He's suddenly become really likable over there. I'm wondering where this Brad Marchand was all those years in Boston. Yeah.
I hope they keep him in Florida.
Yeah.
Him and Bennett both signed for like $2 million and they just win for the rest of time. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that guy wants a bag.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, dude. I mean, Brad Marchand, we can't say enough good things. He's been absolutely dominant. Coming off of several surgeries to, you think he's on the back nine of his career, 37 years old.
Looks like he's got 9 left.
Justin, I've never seen him. He's fast as hell.
He looks
flying.
like prime Marchand out there. He's 37. He's looking like he's 27.
Have you ever seen him be this dominant? Like, this is the best can remember seeing him play.
I mean, he had a 100-point season with the Bruins a while back, but in the playoffs, I don't know if I recall. Well, I mean, pretty much anytime he played the Leafs with the Bruins, I'd say he was this dominant. But, yeah, this is probably as good as he's been, really. If you look at his career, though, I mean, he had some pretty damn good years there in his prime, but it looks like that Marchand's back. Yeah.
He's taking all the people saying that he's not a Hall of Famer personally, and he is making every
he's Hall of Famer.
Possible for himself.
I think Marchand would be ahead of Corey Perry in my Hall of Fame list, which that might rub some people the wrong way.
That also might be you might be going crazy on recency bias. You might be doing recency merchant right now.
I rate Marchand higher than Corey Perry.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Because like if you look at Marchand too, like he's been more consistent in his career too. Like Perry's prime was better. Like when Perry was at his best in those dominant years of the Ducks, but like man, like the last 8 years, yeah, he's still effective. But like he's been a role player, really. Look at it. Whereas Marchand, he's just always been kind of he got to a slower start, but once he got going, like he hasn't really looked back. Yeah, they're close.
And then
Perry has more awards, more individual awards, right? Yeah.
So a couple minutes after the Marchand goal, Oilers down 3-0. They need a response bad, and they finally get one from their captain, who he was yet to score in this series. Gets a big goal, and at that point, I'm like, oh my gosh, these fucking Oilers are gonna come back, and that's what I thought at first. Like.
We've been waiting for that from McDavid, right? We've been waiting all Stanley Cup final for that. He scores a beautiful goal, no celebration, still cold Selly, like, oh, here comes the McComeback.
Yeah, it was a great play from him. He wins a battle, kind of wins a battle against Sam Reinhart. They both tumble into the boards. He gets up right away. The puck gets back to Bouchard, and Bouchard makes such a sweet feed. It wasn't a whole lot of space, but he put the puck on a dime, exactly where he needed to, found McDavid's stick, and then McDavid goes like backhand, forehand, backhand faster than you can comprehend.
Yeah, that's a basic goal for McDavid, man. For anyone else, that's a highlight reel. For McDavid, that's just another day, right? We've been waiting for it. It only took him 5 games, so congratulations. He does have 6 assists, to be fair, but they're going to need a bit more from him if they want to win this cup. So hopefully that's the first of many there for him. I think McDavid, if it was back against the wall, I wouldn't bet against him. I think he's got something in store these last couple games here. I think, yes, I did say a couple games. He's got something up his sleeve there, I think. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he has to, because in just scoring 1 goal is not enough.
Yeah,
like Connor McDavid having 1 point it's not enough.
But I think that the monkey's off the back now. I think we're going to see the floodgates open from McDavid.
We'll see, because he's not been the same player in Florida. He's struggled on the road in Florida. You know, maybe it's because of that warm climate. Maybe that ice isn't the best ice in the world. You know,
Ekblad owns him. Maybe. Yeah, he's having a hard time against Ekblad. He's shutting him down. Yeah, those 2 buddies over there. You know, they used to like tweet at each other and stuff, and like be chirping each other. They've always had a bit of a funny connection there, Ekblad and McDavid. Yeah.
I did not know that, but
you learn something new every day.
Ekblad has been awesome. Not as good as Gustav Forsling, but we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, so McDavid scores that goal, big goal. I'm thinking at that point, oh shit, man, they're gonna come back. They're gonna tie it 3-3, and my under's gonna be cooked.
Well, your under was cooked.
And then a minute or 2 later, the first line for the Florida Panthers just do what they do. Sasha Barkov makes a great play behind the Edmonton net, just physically dominating Corey Perry, gets it to Reinhart. And Reinhart rips it home. And also just like Sam Reinhart scoring that goal 2 minutes after losing that physical battle to McDavid, just bouncing back, next shift, ripping that thing home. Like, these Florida Panthers are just winners. Like, that's something a champion does, is you get beat, and then your next shift you go out and score.
He scored some big goals, especially in these finals too. I had that game tire as well. But Sam Reinhart has 19 points in 20 games. He's 6th on the team in production. That's crazy. He's nearly a point per game, and he's 6th. Yeah. That's wild. It just shows you how good that team is, man.
This team is just firing at a different
level. They're built different, yeah.
Yeah, and another thing, so you brought up Ekblad and Forsling. This Oilers power play has been straight up not good. Not good enough.
The Panthers PK has been it's been better. It's been better to shut them down.
And we talked about it before the series, how important that was going to be, and it is proving to be the difference in a matchup where you look at the 2 rosters and you think, okay, the Panthers are significantly better, but the Oilers have this X factor, and obviously McDavid and Dry, but also that power play. And they're just not getting the results from it.
Yeah, I mean, the Oilers' power play is a big part of the reason why they've been so successful, right? So if they're not clipping, then you're relying on even straight play versus the Panthers. Good luck. It's not going to happen. So they're going to need more from their people, but hasn't really shown much signs of life. Maybe good for a goal a game, but that's not good enough, especially when you're getting 4 or 5 chances. Like, you got to deliver at a higher clip than that. But it just goes to show how good that Panthers PK has been. Like, Forsling's name, he's one of the few guys, you might not see him score sheet a ton, but just his defensive play, he's probably been the best Panthers defenseman in terms of defense. Like, he's been their Nicholas Chalmers in these playoffs. Every game he's making plays of his stick, takeaways, like clears, just good positional play, shutting guys down net front. Like, he's doing everything. He's been probably their unsung hero, I'd say, in these playoffs. He hasn't really had necessarily that like big, huge like moment that you'll remember, but just a ton of little things throughout the games, like these details, like a big part of the reason why they've been so successful these last few years. Yeah,
he had 1 kill. I think it was a kill in the second period. That I was like losing my mind over, because he made like 2 or 3 diving plays with his stick where he just broke the play up at the last second before a guy was going to shoot. And then he also had the play on the same exact kill where Leon Draisaitl got a feed from McDavid right in front of the net, and he somehow gets his stick in front of it and breaks up the shot. Like, it was crazy. He saved like 3 goals in a span of a minute. It was unbelievable. He's so dominant defensively. I mean, I think you probably wouldn't argue against me saying he's a top 2 or 3 defensive defenseman on the planet.
Oh yeah, I think he's right up there. I'd say probably after Slavin and Co. He's probably next in line. I'd say I had to think about that more, but top 5 for sure. I mean, in these playoffs, definitely probably the top guy. So I just can't believe the Hawks gave up on this guy, man. In fact, he was put on waivers. Look at this. The Panthers cleaned him on waivers. Well, actually, no, sorry. He was traded from the Hawks to the Hurricanes, and then he was put on waivers. So, but that's just wild to me, man. Like I know Q always liked this guy. He saw a lot in him, and just wasn't able to see it out, unfortunately. But he's really had to turn himself into just a really solid, second pair shutdown D-man. And it took him a little while to get going, but ever since that's what Florida does, man. They take players who are career like minor league or like bottom tier NHLers, and they somehow turn them into just unreal depth pieces. Like I don't know how they've been able to do it in these 2020s, but he's a perfect example of that. He's not the only one. Yeah.
Well, he's not even a depth piece. Like that is their best defenseman. That is their guy.
Sorry.
He played the most minutes among on the entire Florida Panthers roster, playing 25 minutes. He's everywhere, and he also breaks the puck out well. He's a solid passer. It's not like he's completely incapable of.
He could get offense going too, man. Yeah. He's had like 30-point seasons the last 4 years. I should have said turn depth pieces into like fantastic players like that because they'll be able to do that. Yeah.
It's like he's turned into like a cornerstone of maybe easily a top 10 team of all time.
Yeah, no, big part of it for sure. Yeah.
It's been crazy.
Gotta give them their kudos, man. That's how you do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Edmonton got to get the power play's got to score. It just has to in Game 6. And then for the rest of Game 5, there was the Perry muffin from the point that broke my back and destroyed me, and then that put the goals at 6. That was a nothing burger. I still, even after he scored that, I wasn't like,
no, the Warriors weren't gonna.
I didn't think they were gonna come back. I was like, all
there
right,
was more for your under. Yeah.
I just knew the empty net was coming, and it did. From Lusterainen gets himself a goal to go along with the assist.
You're a big Lusterainen guy, right? Big fan of his now, I'm sure.
I am. Well, I see what you're doing there. No, I was obviously not happy with him having that fucking Steph Curry shot from his own zone that was landed right in the middle of the net. I wasn't pumped about that, but I am a big Lusterainen guy. I think he's an incredible player who I think those are going to be the guys that the Florida Panthers are going to end up not being able to keep around because, I do think Bennett's going to stay, but then in a couple years when you got to sign Lindell and Lusterainen, I think those are going to be the casualties, but for the time being, they've got second, maybe arguably first line players playing on their third line.
That's nasty, man. And how about another guy we have? How about Matthew Tkachuk, man? This guy is clearly playing injured. He's tied with Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett has 15 goals, 7 assists. Tkachuk has 7 goals, 15 assists. Uno reverse card. He's a guy you might not look at and say he's been the Cats' best player every night, but he's always been up there, right? Maybe like their number 2 or number 3. Just quietly been super impressive, right? Maybe not as noticeable as say the last 2 playoffs where he had all those clutch goals and stuff, but he's just been solid, man. He's been performing. He's been producing. And speaking of Matthew Tkachuk, he was just announced for the Team USA's preliminary 6, their original 6 for the Olympic squad next year. That was just announced. In addition to him, his brother Brady Tkachuk and
nice.
Charlie McAvoy.
Oh, it was McAvoy.
Jack Eichel, Quinn Hughes, and Austin regular season Hughes was also added to the team. So
okay, so I just mixed up Werenski and McAvoy.
You cooked. I probably would have had Werenski ahead of McAvoy in that original 6, but that's an interesting one. But I'm not surprised at McAvoy. But the first 6 though, it's interesting. But yeah, I mean that's not what's up and overthink. I mean he'll be in the squad, so the timing, it's a lot of guys who have those connections to USA Hockey. So yeah, nothing too shocking there. I think you got pretty close, man. You almost nailed it.
Team USA is gonna cook.
Yeah.
This is their year.
Yeah, they'll get the revenge on Canada, right? Yeah,
need it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more thoughts on game? We got to hit a break here, but any other thoughts here on Game 5 before we take a quick short break?
Yeah, well, I just think it's crazy that the over has hit every single game here, man. Like, that's nuts. So we'll see if we're due for 1 in 6. That was also Kevin Pickard's first loss of the playoffs. He was 7-0. I guess he was due for a loss eventually there. So not the best game from him, but I don't think it really would have mattered who they started, to be honest. I think they just didn't show out. So yeah.
I do think I have to run it back for Game 6, taking the under again. I can't, what am I going to do? Not take the under this game and then it's going to hit? If I don't take the under, it will hit. So,
Lee, if there's something I've learned in betting, life is too short to bet the under.
No, but that's exactly, everyone thinks that. Everyone loves overs. Overs are so much
You
more
only
fun.
bet the under during game sevens. That's it.
No, you bet the under during playoffs, all playoffs long. Maybe sometimes early on games 1 and 2s, you steer clear. But yeah, when we're talking about games 5 through 7 of Stanley Cup final, yeah, the average amount of goals. I googled it because Lowe from chat DM'd me after the game, after game 5, and was like, why are you doing this? And I just did a quick Google, and like the average amount of goals scored in the Stanley Cup final are like 3.5 to 4.
Yeah, but this Stanley Cup final, the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers,
It's an anomaly.
defies history. It's
Yep.
an anomaly. So
Yep.
I think you should listen to Nolan there.
Yeah. Well, I won't, and I will be going right back to the under in game 6, so nobody can tell me otherwise.
Well,
All right. Let's hit a quick break, and then on the other side we've got to tee up game 6 and do a Mount Rushmore and stuff. Welcome back, Chicago Hockey Radio. I didn't do Plug God stuff at the start of the show, so I'm going to do it now.
How dare you?
I know. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I realized that
You're
as
forgiven.
we were going. If you are new here, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so that you know when we go live. We're going to be streaming Game 6 tomorrow on this YouTube channel. So
Hopefully that won't be the last live stream, right?
I hope it is, because I predicted Cats in 6. And follow the Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio. And then for all those that listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating and review on those platforms. Thank you very much. Okay, we have a Mount Rushmore for you. I won again.
Wow, rare.
I'm back. It's not rare. I'm just back. All right.
Yeah.
I took a few off.
Still in last,
I was,
though, right?
All right.
Yeah. I finished last.
Without further ado, this is Chicago Hockey Radio's Mount Rushmore of hockey siblings/families.
Hello, everybody. It's Mount Rushmore time. This is the last time for this hockey season that we will be getting together, recording these. This has been a good little segment that we've been doing this year. Good way to break up the show. We're going to come back next season with a lot more segments. So this will be something that is sort of the beginning of, the genesis of like segments with this show and pre-recording stuff and making the show a little bit easier for us. So I hope you all have enjoyed this very much. We have 6 left, and we're going to do a bonus one at the end too that may or may not ever see the light of day, depending on if there's a tiebreaker or not, or a need for it. So this one, we are kicking off the Mount Rushmore of hockey siblings and hockey families. The order for the draft: Justin, Raven, myself, and Lee. And with the first pick, we'll throw it over to the J-Man himself to my right. What do you got?
I hate to do this to you, Lee. I know you're not going to love this, but I'm going to take the Chuck brothers with the or just the Chuck family, I should say, with the first pick in the draft. Keith, Matthew, Brady. There might be some you take ahead of them, but I think with recency, I think that should get some votes. Although I guess not everybody loves a good Chuck, so that could be a risky play, actually. But I just want to take that away from Lee because I know he really wants that. So you're welcome, Lee.
It's an interesting pick, 1-1.
Yeah, being different.
For our first round pick, we are taking the father-son duo of Brett and Bobby Hall.
Yeah, can't argue with that one.
Okay. I have a pick that I really want to make, and a pick that I know will probably, make Hawks fans
Ruffle
feel a little
some
bit better
feathers?
here. No.
Okay.
I have a pick for me that I'd like to make, and then a pick that's,
Okay.
For the people, I guess.
Max and Doug Bentley.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go with my heart. I'm gonna go Henrik and Daniel Sedin.
Ooh, Hawks fans will love that one.
Yeah, I know that's not the one that they'd love, but
Yeah,
I had to.
fair enough.
I get 2.
Yep.
I'm going to go with the Espositos and then the Hughes brothers.
Nice.
The Espositos was who I was gonna. That was the Hawks pick there.
Yeah.
I was going to go Espositos and Sedins with my back-to-backs.
You guys are both screwing each other.
I'm gonna go. Oh, there's so many good ones. There are so many good ones.
Oh, we're looking at the same site. Yeah.
Give me the Sutter family.
Yeah, it's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's really
That's the
only
rationale.
that's the only reason they got this pick here.
Fair
Was
enough.
because there's just too many of them to ignore.
Yeah, fair enough. Y'all next.
All right, we're taking the Stahl family: Eric,
Okay.
Jordan, Mark, and Jared.
All right. Jared was obviously, the top Stahl brother there, right? 2 games.
Yeah, you're asking the guy that totally knows hockey. I'm just gonna say
you
yes
probably
to
just learned who
everything.
Jared Stahl is right now. You're welcome.
A little bit.
Yeah, I guess, I'm going to go with the Richard brothers, Maurice and Henry Richard. A lot of cups between those two. Yeah, that feels like a no-brainer for me. And the next one's kind of an interesting one. It's definitely one of those, you'll see. Give me Wayne and Brett Gretzky.
Dude, I was gonna take that.
It's like that meme of Kobe and the other guy combining for however points. It's I mean, if you look at it, no brother duo has had more points combined than the Gretzky brothers. Obviously, Brett really carrying the table there, but yeah, there you go. Yeah. No pressure. No pressure being his brother, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm annoyed you took that. I was going to take that.
I thought
Yeah.
you were gonna go with Seth and Caleb. I'm not gonna lie.
Somebody's gonna take him now.
Raven and Tim.
We're gonna take Scott and Rob Niedermeyer.
Mm. I'm going to take the Stasny brothers.
That was just
Shit.
surprised they made it that far.
Yeah, they probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
I have 2 again. Jeez. I'm gonna take the Howe family,
Mm.
and then. Oh man, not again. Can I take Sam Bennett and Matthew Kachuk? I'm just
No.
kidding.
Feels like they're related though.
Dude, I'm between just some recent stuff, or I'll just go with the Bentley brothers.
There you go.
Yeah,
CHR legends.
Some CHR, some
Doug and Max
Blackhawk,
Bentley.
yeah, Doug
Yeah.
and Max, and they did play with their brother Reg for like
Is that
a
right?
couple games.
Wow,
Yeah, on
got a
the
history guy
Blackhawks.
out here.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Saku and Miku Koivu.
For our pick, we are taking the Subans.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay. In between a couple for the last pick. You know what? There's been some Yeah, give them to me. I'll take the Jones brothers. The Jonas brothers. Caleb and Seth Jones. Let's go.
The Jones
We'll have some
brothers.
fun with that one. Yeah. I was thinking of, honorable mentions.
Seth is my goat.
Yeah. That's your goat, yeah.
Let's see. Who were the honorable mentions?
I was thinking of the Domies. That was the other one I was thinking of.
Domies is a good
Yeah,
one. The Reinhardts
yeah.
is a good one. The Primos is a good one.
Yeah.
Frank and Pete Mahavlich.
Nylanders.
The Nylanders
Oh.
is a good one.
Yeah.
The Docks.
The Hudsons.
Right.
The Hudsons.
About to be.
Did someone take the Millers? Ryan and Drew?
Oh, yeah. Ryan and Drew Miller.
Meet the Millers.
That's a good one.
We're the Millers.
Yeah, that's a good one. I love that one meme. Like
Brian
you
and
guys
Steven
have.
Gianta is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good family ones here. I feel like there were some like big hockey families that are like older ones, like the Conakers and things like that. That the Jeffrey On family.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Probably.
say the Joffreys.
Yeah.
Like
Howard
from
Morenz.
like from Game of Thrones.
Bernie Jeffrey On, Danny
shirt.
Jeffrey On. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hextall family too is another one.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's all sorts of them. Hockey is definitely a family sport for sure.
Yes, it is. All right, well, that was a fun one. Let's send it back to the show.
Bedard and McKenna Robbed confirmed. The Stahl brothers were taken quite early in that draft, Rager. So
Yeah, I just think I can't believe I finished last in this one. I picked the Jones brothers. I think it's absolutely disgusting that Chad picked me last for that. So I take that personally.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what. You never know what the rationale is for people voting.
Yeah, you never really know what the agenda is, right, man?
But apparently, everyone seemed to like mine more than the rest of you.
Yeah, congratulations on your win. I am literally Ricky Bobby. I finished first or I finished last. There's no second, third place finishes. I am feast or famine.
I
Shake and
respect
bake.
that out of you.
Yeah,
You're boom or bust. You're,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm more, like I said, I'm more of a ceiling than a floor guy. So I'm boom bust, right? Either first or fourth. I don't settle for second
You're
or
not
thirds.
gunning for third.
Yeah, I'm not playing it safe. I take risks.
Oh, Justin.
What's
Guess
that?
who's on your heels?
Oh, ChatGPT.
ChatGPT's tied with you.
Wait, you're tied with me?
We have tied at 68 points, brother.
What am I
Wow,
at?
Chat's literally picking for people that are using the internet for their picks.
What am I at?
Lee is at 63. Tassos is at 70.
Jeez.
Unbelievable.
How
Unbelievable.
am I?
Wait, you're still 5 points behind?
Have we put my win in there? Yeah.
Yes, we did.
What? So 63, 68,
I
68, 70?
swear some funny business is going on.
Yes.
The race is being manipulated, man.
63.
I swear it.
There's some funny business going on.
Okay. All right. I've
Lee
had
against the
enough.
world.
I've had enough. Game 6 talk. It's time.
Yeah, let's get to the Game 6 preview, baby.
First question I want to ask you, Justin, do the Oilers stick with Calvin Pickard or do they go back to Stuart Skinner here?
I have no idea. Is there a third? Who's their third goalie? Can they go to him? Oliver Rodrigo, whatever his name is. I don't know. Yeah, I think you probably got to go back to Skinner, I'd imagine. I mean, I don't think Pickard was the reason they lost that Game 5, but he wasn't particularly good either. So, I mean, that really sent the message there, right? Starting a Pickard, that really worked out. So I guess we got to send another message and put Skinner back in. But, Skinner, to be fair, when he has come back in and having a rough game, like he has tended to perform, it wouldn't shock me if Skinner just out of nowhere pulled out a rabbit out of his hat in this Game 6 here. So, yeah, I'd go back to Skinner. He is your starter. He's played more games, right? So I give him one last shot there. I just don't know if I feel confident winning a cup with Pickard. I mean, I don't really feel confident winning a cup with Skinner either, but he was your guy. He kind of is your guy. So I think... yeah, I think Pickard's aura got maxed out exactly. So yeah, I think Skinner. There's at least the chance that he could win you a game. I know it sounds crazy to say, but when he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's really off. With Pickard, he's just mid. So I'd rather take the risk of a Skinner than play it safe with Pickard, if that makes sense. I think when you're in an elimination game, your season's on the line. I think that's a risk you're willing to take.
I think Skinner is the obvious decision here. Yeah. And I think you go with him, not necessarily because you're like, oh, him over Pickard. It's just the point you made about him being your guy. It's an elimination game, Game 6 on the road. You just got to go with the thing that's going to create less drama.
You got to put confidence in your soldiers.
I think if you stick with Skinner or Pickard rather, there's going to be a lot of confusion, and I don't think that's a correct message you send to the room. So,
yeah, I don't think it's right at all.
So I think you take Skinner, and I really don't think that even like this Skinner shutouts that he had this postseason, like how good Calvin Pickard and Stuart Skinner are is completely and utterly related to how well the Oilers play in front of them.
The Oilers net matters as good as the team in front of them. It really has nothing to do with Calvin Pickard versus Stuart Skinner. It's more the narrative and the effect it can have in the room, right? I guess that could be an argument in favor because sometimes it does feel like the team does play a bit better with Pickard, but 7-1 record. But I think at their best though, when Skinner is on, like there is a little bit of room for growth there and a higher ceiling, I guess. So I'm willing to. I think he just needs to have more starts, right? And I think it just sends the right message to the room, starting him ahead of Pickard. Right?
Yeah, and for me, that's all this decision is about because it's not like Stuart Skinner is going to come into this game.
He's not going to win you the game.
Stand on his head and steal it, making absurd East-West saves and because that's just not him, and he's not going to do that.
Pickard was undefeated, but now that he's lost one, I think that was his high point. He's already reached his ceiling, right? Whereas Skinner, I feel like he has a little more to prove. That's why I'm willing to bet on him, right? To come back in and perform. Yeah.
And then some other adjustments that you'd like to see. Are you in favor with me of putting Kapanen back in and taking Jeff Skinner out?
I think Kapanen's been more impactful. He's had his moments. I'm not sure why he was scratched to begin with. I mean, Skinner, I think he's had maybe a goal. That's about it. He hasn't really, he hasn't really noticed Jeff Skinner that much. So, yeah, I think Kapanen. I'd be cool with that. Yeah, I think he draws back in. Yeah.
And then I don't know what the deal with Evander Kane is.
You just can't trust that guy, man. You never know what he's gonna do. He just can't stay out of the box to save his life. But he's got to do something.
Yeah.
Or else he's just a liability if he's just in the box all game. What's his role? Like, what's his impact, right? The whole point of Kane's supposed to get under the Panthers' skin, but all he's been is just a liability, honestly.
I think you have to play him in the top 6. I do.
With Draisaitl?
With Draisaitl.
Yeah.
I think you have to. I think you have to figure out a way to make it work. I don't think he's going to be effective as a fourth liner. I just don't.
No, I see your point there, right? Yeah. But I don't know if you love playing that guy that much either,
But you can't. I'm sorry, you're not going to beat this Florida Panthers team with Podkolzin on your second line.
Fair enough, yeah. I mean, Kane, they've played him there a lot, so you feel a bit more confident about that. Fair enough.
They made that so they made the adjustment of putting Connor Brown on the first line with McDavid and Perry on the second line with Draisaitl and Podkolzin. It's that second line's not enough. You got to go back to I think you go back to Evander Kane, Leon Draisaitl, and Kasperi Kapanen on your second line. You keep Connor Brown in the bottom 6, and you put Corey. Oh my. Mouthful. You put Corey Perry back on the first line with Connor McDavid and Brian Nugent-Hopkins. Shit, that was hard to say. I don't know if you have thoughts on that. But.
I think my thoughts are Corey Perry in the first line. That's going to feed families. Corey Perry's gonna show out here and have a legacy game of winning the Stanley Cup 2025. Corey Perry, who to be fair does have 10 goals in his postseason. So we'll see. Yeah. Corey Perry in the top line, Evander Kane on the second line, and bump Pop Colson down. And I think that's the meta. I think that's the play. Yeah.
Then just go Frederick, Henrique, Brown on the third. And then, if you want to keep Arvidsson in on the fourth line with Janmark and Podkolzin, and you do that. But I think that's the best forward group. Yeah, I think that's the best you could do. I think for the Oilers, man, it's like you can, look at these line combinations and stress all you want over them. But, I think really it's going to come down to how good 97-29 are. So giving them the best running mates to work with, right? Just whoever you play with them the most, right? The chemistry there. I think if you want to at least have Nuge in the first line, you want to at least have, a Kane there. If Draisaitl and Perry will be the other flank there. So if McDavid has Hopkins and Perry, and then Dry has Kane and I'll put whoever another second pair there, second line. It's probably the best you could do. But I think it's going to run through those two. Whoever flanks, whoever win combinations you put together, these depth guys, if it's not McDry, they're not going to win this game 6 through any of those guys. It's going to come through those top guns. So better hope that they're on their game. Yeah, that's a good point you make.
I know it's a basic argument, but it's
you're
true.
Not wrong.
There's no Reinhardts, there's no Bennett's, there's none of those guys on this team, right? McDry is your squad. The offense is going to go through those two. Right?
Justin, we're wrecking our brains about where Connor Brown and Kasperi Kapanen should fit in this lineup.
Exactly.
It's all 97 and 29. I'm so done pretending like it's not.
They make those guys who they are, right? Exactly, right? They elevate the group.
What am I going to do? Sit here and freak out about Trent Frederick's production here in Game 6? No, we're too deep into this. How many points? Tell me this, Justin. For the Oilers to win this game, how many points need to come from 97 and 29?
Those two combined?
Yes.
At least 5. At least. Probably more on that. At least. So it's multi-point game for both. One of them's got to have 3. I think at least if you're getting 1 point, if 1 point each is not going to get the job done. One of them having a multi-point game, another having 1 is not going to get the job done. They both need to have multi-point legacy games. It can't be McDavid alone. It can't be Draisaitl alone. They both got to be on their game. They need them both running and gunning. That's what they need.
I'm sorry for laughing. It's such a funny number. But I
agree.
Not even enough? But I agree, and it's just so funny. Yeah, these two guys need to come up with 5 points.
So
tomorrow.
That's 5 points, and that's what, at least 3 goals. And then they're probably going to need something from somebody else. But that could just be it. That might not even be enough by itself, which is crazy to think.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think you do need 4 or 5 out of them. And I think you double them up as much as you can.
Even do the nuclear option if you have to. Yeah.
You got to play both those guys 30 minutes.
Yeah. Double shift them and get the nuclear option, right? Yes. Who cares about making the rest of the lineup? The rest of the lineup isn't going to do shit. Play those two as much as you possibly can. You got 2 days of this is your season. There's no resting. No, it's as much as you could possibly play these guys, and that's what you got to do. Yeah.
Yeah. There shouldn't be a whole lot of shifts every period without one of them out on the ice.
Exactly. I don't think Matthias Janmark needs to be playing, 15, 10 minutes or whatever, right? Yeah. So they should have as much ice time as possible. At least, 75% of the game or, 60, there should be at least one of those two out there. Yeah.
And then they have to start on time. I think they have to score the first goal.
Yeah.
You can't go down to this Florida
going
team.
From behind there in Florida. It's not going to happen. You're so right. You got to start this game, which they haven't done really all series. I think maybe game 1 they did. I think every other game the Panthers have had the first goal. So got to have the first goal in this game, and that's probably not going to be enough. Probably need to get a bit of a Geico insurance there and build a lead and have the Panthers hunt, right? You don't want to be hunted. You'd rather be hunted than the hunt. Well, I guess that doesn't really make sense against Panthers, but they're fully capable of playing that way. But you feel much better having the Panthers come from behind than being an elimination game for season, and then then you start taking those risks, and they can backfire, especially against the Panthers. They'll take advantage of you and really just put the chokehold on, put the stranglehold on. Ted Nugent reference.
Would you say that the first goal is more important for the Oilers to get than the Florida Panthers?
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah. That's not even close. I don't think the Panthers really need to score the first goal to win the hockey game. I think the Oilers do. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I know they've had comebacks. I know they have, but just this late, elimination game. The Cup's going to be in the building. You think the Cats are going to? No, the Cats are not going to prey at their food. The second that they strike their prey, they're going to kill it. So yeah, you got to get that opening lead and let them play from behind. Put some pressure on them for a change, because the Panthers have been leading for like almost this entire series, which is crazy. I think the Oilers need to eat into that a little bit. You can't be winning these games in the last second, the last minute every time. It's just not going to happen. So yeah,
it is crazy that it's just a 3-2 series, and like it, because these last two games, I guess if you're talking about from an Oilers perspective, if they're going to win, it's 2 games here.
It feels like the series should already be over. It feels like the Cats should already have the Cup.
It feels like a mountain for them to climb.
Yeah, it does.
But I mean, if there's
it's 2
anybody,
games.
if there's anybody that can do this,
you have the 2 best players on the planet who are currently still playing. So it's like if you still feel pretty good about that. The Oilers, they were down 3-0 against this team, and they nearly came back and won the Cup. It's 3-2. You got to win 2 games. I mean, it's doable. One on the road, 1 at home, like back-to-back consecutive. How many times have they done that? These like they could do it, man. They could easily do it. They can, but it's going to be hard, especially against this Panthers team. But I think you got to beat the best to truly be the best.
And I really think this Edmonton team has to get the power play going. They
need more than one goal in the paper, multiple probably.
They need shit, man. The way things have been going the past couple games, they need at least one. They need one. They need one power play goal, because this Panthers team, we've talked about how good their kill is, but this Panthers team, after they kill penalties, they get so much momentum. I think the Bennett goal in Game 5 came right off of a kill. It's like you don't capitalize and score. And granted, Edmonton did have some really solid looks in Game 5 on the power play. And Draisaitl had a couple looks. Corey Perry had one that was like a second chance opportunity that Bob made a really impressive save
That's
on.
the difference, man. It's like the Oilers don't have a Bob. Bob's the guy who can show out and shut down your power play. And I think that's a reason why McDavid only has 1 goal in the series, because of Bob. He's gonna have to solve Bob somehow.
It's like we've talked so much about this Panthers team. What about Bob?
We haven't talked about Bob enough.
Yeah.
I mean, Bob could be. I mean, if it's not a player, Bob's going to win the Conn Smythe. You think it should be Bob, or would you Bennett or Bob? Which one?
For me, it's Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
Sam Bennett's my.
I think
my
Bob was probably the Panthers. I know McDavid won the Conn Smythe last year, but if it was a Panther, I think it would have been Bob. So I think having him win it this year. I mean, surely it's not going to happen again, where McDavid hasn't had the same type of year where it's like 40+ points. So if they lose the Cup again, I don't think he's going to win it again. So I think a Panther would win it this time. You would think, and you have the pick of the litter there. You have the pick from the cat litter. If who could win it, probably 10 guys of this team you could say could win the Conn Smythe. But there's definitely clearly a top 3 there. I'd say Bennett, Marshy, or Bob. It's gonna be one of those 3. Yeah.
I just when I look at like Gustav Forsling basically looking like another goaltender out there on these kills, it's hard for me to say that I think Bob deserves it more than Sam Bennett, who has as much scoring as he does. But I understand, like, that is, regardless, the narrative you bring up of Bob versus Skinner/Pickard is worth
Bob's
talking
been a
about.
Difference maker, man. Yeah. You can even say there have been some games where the Panthers haven't really shown up, where Bob's kind of stole them some too when he's had to. So he's a goalie who could do that, whereas the Oilers don't have a goalie who could steal you a game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But the power play's gotta click for Edmonton. You need a lot from 97 and 29. Have to score first. Jeez, man. Yeah, I think you got to make those changes to the lineup that we talked about. I just don't think Jeff Skinner is a guy that needs to be in an elimination game in the Stanley Cup final, Game 6, back against the wall on the road. I don't know if that's Jeff Skinner hockey.
Yeah, I don't know if he has that dog in him with a W, right? Especially he's not really. There's a reason it's taken his whole career to get to the playoffs. He's just not really a playoff guy. So, I wouldn't really feel confident there. But there's one stat I would like to bring up there, because I'm a stat merchant, I'm a history merchant. The last time we had 2 teams go, back to back in the Cup Finals was 08-09, Pens Red Wings. You know what that 2009 final was at? Heading into Game 6,
3-2.
It was 3-2 in favor of the Red Wings. So, and then in Game 7, I think the Pens won at home. So the Oilers had their back up against the wall, right? McDavid, this is your Sidney Crosby moment. This is your moment to take over. This is the last piece of the puzzle. There's the Stanley Cup. It's the last unwon trophy, the biggest one, right? Against the best team in hockey, right? This is your we talk about legacy moments all the time in the show. This is your legacy moment right here. It's like, you just got to find a way. You got to find a way to dominate, be the best player on the ice like you are. You're the best player in hockey. There's no reason. I don't care how good Bob is, how good that defense is, how good that Panthers team is. I do not know. This is your moment with Dry, to take over and show why you're the best player in hockey. This is the moment right here.
I will do some McDavid apologetics here. I do think that there's a difference between the team Crosby had and the team McDavid
Crosby had a
has,
far better team around him. Yeah.
and also the team Crosby was facing versus this team that
I don't know. Those Red Wings teams are pretty damn good.
They were good, but I mean,
They
this,
did-
this
yeah.
I mean, this Florida. I know. The hindsight merchants. Don't worry. Just 10 years. Let 10 years pass. Everyone's going to talk about how good this Florida Panthers team was in like 10 years.
Oh,
from
I know
now.
they're good. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, but my voice became when I get defensive. My voice
I
just
love
becomes
it.
like I become like a mouse because
Yeah.
I'm squeaking around. Yeah, the chat fires me up and I'm squeaking. Yeah,
I know what you're saying, but
but anyway, hold up the finger. Anyway,
I just think this is a large task at hand for
It is.
for
There's-
the Edmonton Oilers to scratch their way out of this one.
Oilers to scratch their way out of it. Yeah,
They
the
gotta-
cats are
they
scratching
gotta-
at them.
They got to outclaw the cats.
Yes, they do. They're gonna pounce on them. They gotta find a way to avoid getting hunted. Yeah.
All right. So how do you see this game playing out? I know your heart you want. I know in your heart you want.
You're already speaking for me.
But how do you see this game going, Justin?
I don't know. I believe me. I've been thinking about this like all weekend. I've been thinking about it. I really have no idea. Well, first of all, my heart, yes, of course, my heart wants the Oilers because I want this. This series has been so damn good. Like this deserves 7 games. Like this really deserves 7 games. I want 2 live streams, man. These live streams have been so much fun. I want another live stream. I don't want tomorrow to be the last live stream. I want to have a Friday night Game 7 because there's nothing better than Game 7. Sorry, of a Cup final. Nothing better than Game 6 if you're a Hawks fan because they'd always win in Game 6.
True.
So I guess if the Panthers really want to prove that they're the new Hawks here, the new Dynasty Hawks,
Take care of business.
you got to take care of business in Game 6, right? You have opportunity, take it. Don't delay the inevitable, right? I don't know. I mean, my heart says Oilers, but if I'm going to be honest here, if I'm going to take and plus I do have Oilers in 7, so of course I'm going to stick to my guns and say they're going to get the job done and get it back to Edmonton for Game 7 with a back up against the wall. I think they could do it, but I have a hard time though. I have a really hard time betting against this Florida team. So, yeah, I mean, if I'm going to be honest, it does kind of feel like it's theirs to lose tomorrow. But I'm not sure if that's what I'm going to predict, though. How about you?
Yeah, I do feel like a legacy game is inevitable from McDavid and Draisaitl. Like I do see them playing really well.
It just feels like McDavid saved it. We haven't seen the best out of McDavid yet, and that scares me.
But it's just.
But will it
it's
show
still-
up, though?
It's still just like even if the best McDavid shows up, I don't know if it's
The Cats could still
beat
win.
this Panthers team. And that's the scariest thing of all. It's like McDavid at his best
Might
might
still
not be
enough.
good enough to beat this
I
Florida
mean, we
Panthers
saw it last
team.
year. Last year was at his best, and it still wasn't enough. He nearly won that final by himself.
And I mean, I've been kind of harping on it all series long. I'm sticking with my guns. I said Florida Panthers in 6 before the series started. I've thought this was a mismatch, especially as the series is developed. I still think it is that way. Do I think it's completely impossible for the Oilers to upset and force a Game 7? No. Do I think it's improbable? Yes. I'm going to go with Florida Panthers to win this one, and I'll say, I don't know, man. It's got to be an under. There's got to be an under.
6 times a charm, right? 6 times a charm.
Yeah, I guess
Uh-oh.
realistically, the prediction that makes sense is like
This won't be an over-under.
it's another over.
It's
It would
yeah.
be like a 5-3 or a 5-4, but I'm going to say 4-2 Cats.
Well, I mean, even though my brain says the Cats win the Cup on Tuesday, that's too easy, man. That's too easy. I think this has been a legacy year in many ways. The storylines, you look at everything, you look at the hockey world. It's been a great year for hockey. I think it'd be a real shame if it ended in 6 here. I know, yes, Panthers going back to back. Yeah, it'd be a story by itself. Don't get me wrong, right? This team established themselves as one of the top dogs in hockey, one of the best teams there is, but I think the even better story would be, I hate to say it, but yeah, I think McDavid dragging the team on his back, putting the team on his back, with his back against the wall, right? Having his revenge. Oilers gain their revenge on this Panthers team and showing out in 7. I think the Oilers find a way. They found a way Game 5. They're going to find it for Game 4, I should say. They're going to find a way again and bring this back home for their revenge game in Game 7 Friday. So I think they're going to nearly edge the Florida Panthers in overtime, and McDavid's going to have the overtime winner, and it's going to be a 4-3 Oilers win. Just
Gosh,
barely
you are
edging
such
the
a-
over.
You are such a drama merchant.
I
You're
love drama,
disgusting.
man. I love drama. You think that NHL doesn't want a bit of drama
Of
here?
course
They don't
it
want
does.
a boring 5-1 Panthers win Game 6. Like, I feel like it's too. I get it. Like, all the stats and stuff would suggest, yeah, the Panthers got this one covered. But I just think there's something left. I think there's something left here, man. I don't think McDavid is just gonna, he's got something in store. I feel it. You know he does.
Evan in chat said Lee is scaring me. I want the Oilers to win so bad. Look, it's not like I don't want to see Connor McDavid lifting the cup
just have
over
your
his head
doubts.
and passing it to Leon Draisaitl. I think that would be an amazing moment for the sport. I just am calling balls and strikes here, and I just see a Florida Panthers team that is so much better. It's just, they're so much better. And I know that anything can happen in this great sport, but if I have to make a prediction, I'm going to go the route that I think is significantly more likely than a miracle. And for me, that's what it feels like the Oilers need, quite literally, is a miracle. And
I believe in miracles. Yes, I do.
I guess if there's one guy to do it, it is McJesus from Alberta, but I'm leaning Panthers, and that's really...
It's fair enough, man. It's fair enough. It's a hard one to predict for a reason, right? I mean, I think we're both probably stressing over this for different reasons, right? So, yeah, I think for the game of hockey, I think it'd be better if the Oilers 1-7. So that's kind of what I'm going for. A lot of it is heart and storyline, merchants, and you're probably thinking more from the analytical stats side, which is probably the smarter way to go about it, if I'm going to be honest with you. But I think for the storylines, the drama, for the hits, for the NHL, for business, I think the Oilers, that'd be a good story. So we'll see. Again, got to win Game 6 first. That's the thing. You got to do it again. You got to do it again. And winning two back-to-back games against this Panthers team that's a tall task.
Look, the Leafs were able to come off of a dominant or a crushing defeat in Game 5, go to Florida Game 6, pull out the win. Obviously, you all know what happened in Game 7, but I mean, I
think the Oilers aren't. That's the thing. If the Leafs can do it, surely the Oilers can. The Oilers
so
are
that's-
a better team than the Leafs. They have those winners, right? Yeah.
That's why I feel like this is set to be an under, Justin. It's
Yeah.
like there's too much at stake here for these guys to just be, for it to be the most open game in the world, trading chances. Like, there's too much to lose. Give me the under again. We're going back, chat. Follow me to the promised land. I will take you there. The under's hitting. We're going to be streaming tomorrow night.
The lead jinx will feed families.
Okay.
Now I feel pretty good about this, actually. One last time, the Oilers shall prove Lee wrong.
Lee Jinx, folks. We're going to a 7th final deciding game. Okay. All right. Maybe the Lee Jinx will be alive and well. We will see. I don't think it's going to. I think the Florida Panthers are going to take care of business. But yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts before we wrap up here?
No more thoughts. I think it'll just be interesting to see which former Blackhawks legends come on top here. I mean, like I said, tomorrow could be a big day for the sport of hockey. I mean, I think everybody's been waiting to see Seth Jones lift that first cup, right? I think that image will go down the history books, the storybooks. So,
Or will Matthias Janmark have an answer?
Yeah. Will Corey Perry break the 0-5 drought there? We'll see who's going to come out on top. There's a lot to play for here. And yes, like you said, we will be streaming the game tomorrow. Better get in there, man. These live streams have been absolute cinema. Can't miss material. So I think we're all looking forward to being there. And I want to see more. That's another thing. It's a want, man. Like, I want to see more. I want to get 2 more live streams. So hopefully the Oilers can give that to us. And I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain about one more stream. I'll tell you that much.
Actually, yeah, one more thing. If the Oilers do win this game, do you think the Panthers still win Game 7? Do you think they still win the cup if the Oilers win this Game 6?
Yes.
You do. So you're all in on the Panthers.
They're the better team. I know I picked Oilers in Game 1. I just had a feeling they were gonna come out fast, and but just like every game after, I look at these two teams. I've seen the way the series has gone. The Florida Panthers are way better than the Oilers. They're just better. So yes, I think every single game, if I'm making predictions, I'm gonna be leaning towards the side of the Florida Panthers. What am I supposed to say? The Oilers at home here in Game 7. Watch out. The Panthers are better on the road. How could
They're 10-3. They're 10-3 on the road. Fair enough.
Yeah, if I genuinely I'm just calling it the way I see it. If I see that a team's better than the other, I can't help but pick them, and so that's probably what I'll do if the Oilers Oilers find a way to get it done in Game 6. But what about you then?
Panthers are looking to go band for band. The Lightning, right? They won back-to-back cups, so they're trying to do it too. I think Gary Bettman will have 4 Florida Cups in the 2020s. I think that's great for the game of hockey, right? That's good
it's
stuff.
all
right?
Gary's ever wanted.
Yeah, he loves those southern markets showing out and that Canada curse continuing. No, I think if the Oilers find a way in Game 6, you think they're going to lose Game 7 at home, Cup final? Absolutely not. I think they're going to get their revenge from Game 5, and I think the Oilers in 7 prediction that I made, I think it still has life. Probably more likely Lee is right than Cats in 6, but I'm going to stick to my guns here.
Can I play devil's advocate for the point you just made?
What's that?
I think if you saw the Oilers down 3-0 in Game 4 and thought to yourself, well, if they're going to come back in this one and win this game, they're not going to lose Game 5 at home.
I know, but this time, didn't think they're going to do that twice, though? I think they'll get it right this time. They understand it now. They understand it now. You seen that meme? Yeah.
No.
Okay. Oh,
Sorry, you didn't get that one.
that's all right.
Normally
okay.
I get
That's
it.
okay. That's all right. I forgive you.
All right. I think that's solid. I think that's where we wrap. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. We will see you tomorrow evening for the live stream. Don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It could be the last stream of this
that'd be
season.
sad, man.
So please, please, please be there. I don't want you guys to miss that. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell and like this video right now that you're watching. If you haven't yet, just it takes 1 second. Just hit that thumbs up for us. And follow the Instagram, Chicago Hockey Radio, the X account, the TikTok, all the above. And for all those that listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating and review. I think that's it. That's all we've got for you guys. We will see you tomorrow night. Peace.
Adios.